are like recommended maybe you do not wash it, then you just use it.
Yeah. So there's like a couple parts of that question. As we talked about, it's never gonna like overflow, just because you never lose that much blood in a day. It's really great for traveling because you only have to bring like the one little cup instead of bringing like a whole pack of pads. And then, as we talked about with removal, even in an emergency situation, you're gonna wash your hands first, and then you're gonna take it out and empty it. And if there's no water to wash it, that's okay. If you have some toilet paper to clean the outside and make sure to clean the 4 air holes, then you can reinsert it. And then you can rinse it out the next time that you take it out. Does that answer the question? Okay, awesome, yeah.
Does it have any effect on human being?
So that's a great question, and the question is about how we talked about cramps yesterday, and what happens given that you have this like plastic silicone inside of yourself, like what happens if it is there for longer than 12 hours. So as we talked about, there shouldn't be any discomfort or pain when you have it inside of you, so it shouldn't contribute more to cramps. It shouldn't in terms of like what happens if it's in there for more than 12 hours, 12 hours is not like at 12 hours you gotta take it out or like something bad is gonna happen. That's kind of just a rule for safety. And it's what we talked about in terms of like, you don't wanna introduce bad bacteria inside of yourself. And so there's just bacteria everywhere. Even if you do the best job of like washing your hands and like washing your body, there's just a little bit that can be introduced. And so the reason why you want to take it out after 12 hours is to make sure to take anything out that was introduced, wash it, and then put it back in fresh. And for me personally, like I often go over 12 hours. It's not like something bad is gonna happen. It's like a recommendation. So,
and I would say the risk is relative. It's lower with menstrual cups because so with like tampons, like there's a lot of risk associated with leaving a tampon in for too long because it's cotton, and so it's absorbent, and that's like a very conducive material for like bacteria growth and stuff, and you could potentially get like toxic shock syndrome if you leave a tampon in too long. But the benefit of the menstrual cup is that the material that it's made from like prevents like you can leave it in for a little bit longer than 12 hours and the risk is not super high of something bad happening. Like don't leave it in for like 14, 16, 18 hours because that introduces like a risk of like bacterial growth. But in general, I would say the menstrual cup is like it's the material that's used makes it pretty like low risk for leaving it in your body.
This is not like a typical plastic. This is like silicone that quite fine with your body.
It's like medical.
Yeah. What about, for example, like I'm flowing for about 3 days. Then the first day I use the cup. The second day
You change it.
I change. Maybe I use the disposable cup. Can it bring any effect?
No, it should be fine. It doesn't affect your flow at all. This is a good thing that we talked about in this table that George asked about earlier, so we'll just talk about it as a group in terms of like if the cup can disrupt your flow and if it can disrupt, so he mentioned that like sometimes clots come out, like bigger pieces, if it disrupts that. And the answer is no, it doesn't affect your cycle at all. So if you remember the image of the uterus and the vagina, I think we all have it in our heads, right? That like you have your uterus, it's like shedding the lining and it goes down through your vagina. So the cup sits inside of your vagina and it just sits there and collects anything that falls down. It doesn't interact with your uterus at all. It doesn't interact with the part that's like shedding. It just sits and touches the blood. If you think about where your pad sits under your vagina, it's essentially
I think that even if it is used that way, it can still be used to collect blood too.
Oh yeah, so here we go. Sorry. So all of the blood is shedding from here. The cup sits here, a pad would sit here. So those both methods don't interact with what's happening here at all. So it should have no effect on your flow or cycle or anything like that. I mean, I said it should have, it doesn't. It has no effect. Yeah.
We know that vaginal is very sensitive. Yeah, it's a very sensitive, very powerful. So, we're changing this like what just look at us. You find that you remove it, then at the same time you want to wash it all the time. Is it advisable to wash also the vagina first?
To wash the vagina? You can if that's available, but you don't have to. I've never done that. But as we talked about with the wash section, once a day you want to use water to wash the exterior of your vagina, and that is sufficient as long as you're wearing clean, dry underwear. And if you have a pad, a clean, dry pad, then you don't need to wash every time that you remove an insert.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, when you're going to sleep, for example, does it affect, when you sleep, does your sleeping posture affect the cup inside you? Does it bend or something, or is it just okay?
Just what?
The sleeping posture, when some of us sleep different styles.
Yeah. So the posture doesn't affect it. Like you can be very active and like, move your body however you want, and it doesn't affect. What I have noticed sometimes is when I try to remove my cup in the morning, sometimes I'm a little higher than where I went before bed, and that is just because it's a muscle and the way that it has like relaxed or contracted while you slept. It's like moved it forward. And oftentimes it's in the morning after I slept that it's like a little uncomfortable to get to, and I have trouble accessing it. And those are most frequently the times that I decide to like go do something else for like a couple hours, and I come back, and usually after just like regular movement, it will settle back to where it usually sits, and then I can take it up.
Anyway, can I just say from a bike when I have a discovery?
Yes. I mean, so it like your vagina is a muscle, it'll seal around it, and so it also like isn't like it's inside of you, so your body's doing this, it's still sitting inside of you, and if it moves a little, it is sealed, and it'll just move together. And as we talked about, like the blood never comes to this part, so it's completely fine to do any activity.
Even if you're swimming inside of the water, you can swim. I've gone surfing with my in the ocean.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was really funny. Like when you urinate, is it possible that you remove it? Or how can you urinate?
Yeah, it has no effect. So if you remember this diagram, so here's your vaginal sitting. The question was about urination, and we also had a question about like if you can poop while you have a cup in. So if you remember, this is your vaginal opening. This is where the cup goes. It creates a seal so that blood can't come out.
Yeah.
But your urethra is here, and your anus is here. So those are three separate holes. Yeah. There's three separate holes, channels. So you're blocking the vagina, and the other two are unaffected.
That's another lesson. Lesson learned.
What?
Another lesson learned.
Yeah.
Okay, I was asking that apart from using water and the vinegar, can you use any other thing to sterilize the cup?
So you don't want to use like detergents. You can use a mild soap.
Unscented.
Yeah, so like no scent, gentle, with water to rinse it out. Some companies will like sell specific soaps. That's completely unnecessary. But in general, you don't want to use like something that's like very strong or has a strong scent. Because as we talked about, you don't want to like disrupt what's naturally happening in your vagina. Sorry.
If it's unscented, I think it's okay.
If there's no like perfume.
If there's no
with the
perfume,
soap,
yeah.
then that's fine.
Like we are in a class, we are brainstorming, running. Okay, we are living in a funny world. The world is very funny. The world.
Oh yes, in a funny world, yes we are. You're right.
Like this cup is majorly used for holding the blood.
Yes.
But we see like even banana, they are meant to be eaten. But some use it to satisfy themselves sexually. So okay, this
Okay. So the question is that these are Jordan's words that a banana is made for eating, but can be used to satisfy yourself sexually. And then how do we make sure that it's not being used for that purpose? I guess the answer is you can't ever know what a person is doing with their own personal menstrual cup. I would also say that it's like, like pretty soft, and you could maybe find other ways. But really, at the end of the day, like you have no idea what someone is doing with it, and I would hope that you follow these instructions and use it safely. That's the best.
The goal of the cup is not necessarily sexual pleasure. Like the goal of the cup is to help manage your period by collecting the blood instead of having the blood be absorbed. So it's not its original purpose at all. And I've never heard of it being used for otherwise. So.
George, did you have another question?
No, I just wanted to say that you can't use that culture as a good essay because it's a plastic and it is quite so you can't use it. Each and everything has its purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, on top of that, you're using it during your period.
That's a good point, in that like menstruating women have that like more priorities. First and foremost, collecting the blood that's coming out of them. So that's the best use for this. Any other questions? Okay. So I just want to review some tips, which is impossible to see on the screen. Sorry about that. The first thing is to make sure that you're emptying your cup about twice a day. As we talked about, that 12-hour is kind of like a recommendation. It's not very strict, but just make sure that you're emptying it out regularly and maintaining cleanliness. If you have a heavy flow, you might find that you want to empty it more frequently than 12 hours. As we mentioned, there's not going to be a time in which the cup fills up and your vagina is filling up, but sometimes it is more comfortable to empty it when it's a little bit less full so that you don't have a lot of blood coming out. So in that case, you can think about emptying out every like 4 or 6 hours, or every 10 hours instead of every 12. So when you're removing the cup, always remember that you want to break the suction that you've created, and you do that by getting your fingers on the base and like breaking that seal before you pull it out. So you never want to like just grab onto the stem and yank down, because it is suction and it's very uncomfortable. Okay, so always be sure to remove your cup before having sexual intercourse. That was a discussion that we had earlier, that sometimes you may want to have sex while you're having your period. addition to not having sex with it in, if you did, it would not prevent pregnancy, and it doesn't prevent disease or anything like that. So that's not what this is for. Take it out before you have sex, put a condom on. And then after you've given birth, sometimes there can be like postnatal bleeding. Don't use the cup for that. And like after your vagina is like healing and resting after you've given birth, don't use the cup for that either. So that's a good time to use a pad instead. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that I'm not completely familiar on this, I don't know where our doctor went, but I think that, there he is. Okay, I think that after you've given birth, like, you squeeze the large thing out, like, kind of like need to rest and heal that area, so that's like, and because it is also a muscle and you were using that muscle to keep the cup in, you don't want to then insert the cup and like have to like overtire yourself, you kind of just want to rest it.
So after giving birth, there's a period named postnatal period, which is take around 52 days. So within that days, it is important to like, because your muscles is healing from like, like expansion, like big expansion of the baby. So it is important to just relax the muscle and then let all inflammation heal first. And then after that period of 52 days, or probably 2 to 3 months, then you can start with the cup.
And then this is kind of like the last information slide, and this is talking about the learning curve and how if you remember maybe learning football for the first time, like it takes a lot of time to figure it out, and sometimes you're like, or with other activities as well, like sometimes you do it really well and you're like, okay, great, I've learned how to do this, I'm like really comfortable with it, and then the next time you do it, you like do it really poorly and it can be really frustrating. That definitely applies to the menstrual cup, and it's like so personal and can be stressful because you're bleeding. And this is just a note that like it can take multiple menstruation cycles to like get really comfortable and really understand like what's happening. But if you want to, just know that like if you keep using it, you will get used to it. It's very hard at first and it can take a lot of patience, but if you decide that you like all the benefits that come with the cup, just stick to it, keep trying, maybe use a pad while you're figuring it out and you have a little bit of leakage, but you'll figure it out at some point. That will absolutely happen. Yeah. And so, to end this off, we kind of wanted to pair off and talk about like specifically where each person can empty their cups, like what latrines and toilets and bathrooms you have access to, what kind of water you have access to, and how this can be helpful in your life. So we can do that in small groups, just to like brainstorm what you have access to and where water is for you. And Deepa and I can share our stories to start off. So I've been using my cup for 5 years now. My flow is pretty light, and so I change my cup once or twice a day, and there's not a lot of blood in it. So like before bed is the most frequent time that I'll change it. So I do a whole step of like washing hands, relaxing, breaking the seal, emptying it. And I really like it for a lot of the reasons that we've covered in that, as I said, I've had it for 5 years, which means that for 5 years I haven't spent any money on any other menstrual products. When I travel with it, I just have to carry this one small cup, which is really nice. And I never have to worry like, oh, do I have to like replenish my stock? I like that it's also like inside of me, and so it's really easy for me to like move around and be active and like do any activity that I want to do, and it's like not too hot or like bunching in a weird way. So that's my experience with the cup.
I think I used mine for like 2 and 3 years. And I definitely like a heavier flow, so I'll change mine more often. And I like to change, I don't have like a set routine, but I usually will change it like 2 or 3 times a day, depending on like if I'm like working out or something, which I do pretty frequently. I'll like change it after that, sometimes before, depending on like on how I feel. In terms of like traveling, I'm like, because like I have a relatively heavy flow, I still will use pads sometimes, or like at the beginning, it's hard to get used to it, so I'll use like other products, like I'll use tampons or whatever. But I would say the majority of the time that I spend on my period, I use the cup. It's also, yeah, like I think it's really good for like traveling, because especially for long flights, because you put it in and then you don't have to change it for like 12 hours, you don't have to worry about it. It's really convenient in that way. I think that also for school, I think it's really good because you get it, you change it in the morning and then you're out for however many hours of the day, and if you don't know if you have a bathroom with privacy, it's like not a problem. You like come home at the end of the day, you change it. So that's, I really, really appreciate it for that reason. I think, as like I was saying earlier, I think something I really enjoy about it is that it has given me an opportunity to understand my body a little bit more, and like it's cool to see the amount of blood that you lose. You realize it's not as much as you think. And I think it, yeah, like I enjoy that part of it. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, I think it's really convenient in terms of like planning. Like, you don't have to worry about like going to the store, replenishing like your pads. It saves a lot of time, saves energy. But yeah, it is very difficult to get comfortable using it, but I think it's worth it, personally. Yeah.
And then maybe the last thing before we end this group discussion is a lot of you have brought up the really good point that to buy a cup is expensive. It's like so much more expensive than buying pads, and that makes it like very inaccessible. And we are aware of this. It was really nice that we got this donation, but our group is working with Festus to like continue this project for multiple years. And if you all like to use the cup and it is feasible and it like makes sense for the community, then we're gonna look forward into how we can maybe manufacture them locally, how do we bring down the price, and also at the same time, like how SEP can help people raise the money, like where we could get some profits and raise money and help people purchase the cup, because in the long run, given that the cup will last for 10 or so years, if you take that into account, it is maybe a better financial option. But I know that that is like a prevalent concern for the community, and that's something that we're thinking about as well. So if you have ideas or interest or want to talk to us about that, we're very open to hear it. We're aware of it and we're working on it. Okay. So maybe in your small groups and pairs and even smaller groups, you can talk about if you think this is feasible, what facilities you have access to, how you see this being helpful in your life, and if you think it'll be helpful in your life. And we'll come around if you have any questions. That sound good? Are there any like large like group questions right now before we do that? Okay. What do you guys think? For water?
Naka done. 15-20 minutes. Let me put this on charge.